Let's take a look at how we can use the instancer inside of Solaris while also maintaining our material assignments after the instancing takes place. So as always, this project file will be available on Patreon, so you can grab it on there if you'd like. I've been getting a lot of questions on this lately, so I figured we would take a look at it as it's something that you're probably going to be doing quite a bit. So all I have in this scene is just a few objects. I have a sphere, a box, and a torus. They're all just sitting on the ground plane, and I have just so they have a name attached to them so that they're all under this geo, and then there are individual names for each object. So let's go ahead and create a material library, and let's create some different materials. Oops. Dive inside. Let's create a Karma material builder. Call this one sphere. Let's go ahead and I like to up the roughness on my materials, just a personal preference thing. Let's make this one red. Let's create a second and a third. And let's call this one box. And then the second one or third one, torus. And then let's change the colors of these as well. So we'll set the box to like the green, and for the torus, we can make it like this blue color should work. So let's go ahead and assign these. I'm going to use a material linker because I personally like the material linker, but you can use the material library and assign through here if you want, or an assign material node, whatever works for you. But I'm going to use material linker. Let's go ahead and assign this, each one to their corresponding objects. And now everything is set up. So if we take a look at our geo, if I go ahead and select one of our meshes, the important thing to note is actually in our scene graph tree here in our details, I have this material binding. So before this, I don't have the material binding, but once I have a material actually bound to our object, we have this material binding, which defines the path to our material in the scene graph tree. So that's going to be important to note. So the sphere and the torus also have these, and they, again, point to the individual materials that are assigned to them and where they're at in that material tree. So let's drop down an instancer node. And we don't actually want the objects that we're instancing on to be on that first input, so I'm going to wire those into the second. I'm going to go ahead and set up our prototype primitives here. So we'll select our 3 objects and just drag those into there. And then we can set up our points. So I'm just going to create a grid, and I'm going to scatter some points onto that grid. We don't need that many. We can drop that down a little bit. And then you can see that we have the instancing actually taking place. Now, I'm not going to go over how the instancer actually works as far as getting these objects all to be assigned how you want. I'm just going to cover the material aspect of this for now. I'll probably go over this in a different video, but for now, we're just going to cover the materials. So if we look into our scene graph tree now, we see that we have lost everything besides our actual geo that we're instancing onto here. So there are actually a couple of ways that you can go about fixing the issue. And the issue, if we click on our box here, or either any of our objects, you can see we have this material binding, and then we have our material path, which it can't find because it's not actually in our scene graph tree. So as I said, there are a couple of ways around this. I'm going to go ahead and show you the first one, which is a way that I don't necessarily recommend for a couple of different reasons, which we'll go over here in just a moment. But let's go ahead and set it up first. So with our material library, let's go ahead and I'm going to just select all of these and just delete out those bindings. And I'm going to bind them with our materials. So let's create 3 because we have 3. Let's autofill those materials. And if I look here, we have our materials that are going to be assigned as soon as I click that assign to geometry and give it the pass. So for our sphere, let's drag in our sphere. For the box, let's drag in the box. And then our torus, we can drag in the torus. And now you can see that we have all of our materials that are being bound to our objects. But again, we have them under this materials scope with our material assigned here. We can change that if we want, and we could assign it to the same path as the sphere. So we could do /geo/sphere. And now you can see that it is, or we could do, sorry, under there. So we could do like materials. Now it is assigned kind of in that. So let's just do that for all of these. Let's set this box. So /geo/box. And then again, we'll do materials. Or actually we can do like yeah, we'll just do it under materials. So then I'll do /geo/torus and then /materials. So maybe you get a geometry that's set up this way and handed off to you. Let's just bypass this now. And you can see that it does work, but if I actually come back to our material linker, one of the reasons I don't like this is because we have our material lists that are all kind of set up this way. It's just kind of messy and I don't like it. The other reason I don't like this is because you're going to not necessarily have all of it set up this way if you get a file from a client or something. Maybe you get a file and all of your materials are bound. Maybe they're bound kind of like this. So we don't want to just move all of our materials, which you can technically do, move them under the mesh, or maybe they're under like a geo and then they're assigned under this X form. That is something that is possible to get handed off to, but it's not something that I would, like to work with. That's not how I personally prefer to work. And I definitely don't want all of our materials assigned under this mesh. I really like the way that this works, where we have our materials being assigned under their own scope, just kind of outside of all of our geometry for our mesh. So the way that we can do that with this is to just bring our material path back. So if we remember back, we have this material path that it now can't find on our instancer because it doesn't exist. So we can bring that back, and it's a relatively easy process to do. So all we need to do is create a split scene node. We can wire in our materials, or what we're wiring into our instancer, I should say. And then we just need to select our output primitives. So we'll do /materials. And now we get all of our materials being output under our scene graph tree, and that's going to be the first output. Now we can wire that into our input stage, or the first input of our instancer, and you can see everything now works properly once again. Now you don't have to do it this way either. You could like graft it back on if you wanted to, but this is kind of the easiest way to go about doing that, is use this split scene node, bring your materials, and then wire them into your instancer. Really, all we need to really do is just make sure that the binding paths are going to line up properly with where it expects them on our geometry, which you can see, as I said, through the scene graph details. So let's just go through this a little bit more here. So let's create a SOP create. Let's create a grid. And I'm going to just increase the size here. Something like that should work. And let's just wire that into the first input of our instancer. And then you can see, again, we've lost all of our materials because, once again, we have this SOP create being brought in, but we don't have our materials being brought in. So we still have that with our split scene, so we can bring that back in, as I said, with a graft, so graft branches. So we can wire in our graft branches, or our split output of our split scene into our graft branches. And then we can bring in our materials. And instead of this destination prem path, sorry, not under the destination prem path, but under the primitive path, we don't want to assign it under the prototypes. We just want it to be under the main portion of our scene, which you can see brings our materials back because everything is put back to where it expects it. Now we can also do some other cool things with this if you want, because all it is looking for, as I said, is the path to material. So we can actually, if we wanted to, change these materials altogether. So I'm just going to make a copy of this material library, bring it on over. And actually, before I do this, let's set our display flag on the instancer. And let's go in here and just change the colors around a little bit. So maybe this one's pink. See, it's already updating. This one we'd set to like a purple. And then for our torus, we could set to that orange color. And now you can see that we have all of our materials being applied because they're the exact same as what we have over in this stream. So even though we've changed them, the names and everything are the same. So it knows where to look for the materials. So ultimately, what you need to take away from this is that you need to see where your materials are being bound from inside your scene graph tree details, and then just make sure that that path exists after your instancer. As long as you do that, then Houdini knows where to look to assign the materials or where the materials actually lie, and it can assign them. And again, we can overwrite that if we wanted to later on down in the tree as well. Anyways, hopefully this has helped you out. Like I said, I've got quite a few questions on this recently, so I wanted to show how we can go about fixing this and some different ways to go about doing that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and have a good day.